In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victorious. So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on, bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. Are you laughing at your picture, or are you still laughing at the intro?
I'm laughing at you.
It's so funny.
Better today.
It's totally normal, and then once it starts, you start giggling.
No, but now you have no pants on.
I was going to ease into that.
Okay.
I am literally okay. It's raining really badly right now in New York City, and I showed up to the studio, and it's in our friend Alex's apartment. So he has a dryer in his apartment.
Yeah.
So I asked, as long as it's okay with everybody, can I dry my jeans in the apartment?
Take note, ladies.
Well,
I
yeah.
have a dryer in my apartment.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, true. Hey, that's not even a joke. It's like, hey, eligible bachelor right here.
Yeah.
Richie Rich. What'd you call it? And but I was like, oh, can I? And Alex is like, let's wait for Andy, and as long as he's cool with it, I don't care.
Yeah, of course, I don't care.
Yeah. So not right now. We're in Alex's studio, and I am in boxer briefs. I have no pants on.
Well, it was the normal giggles I get from the intro. I don't know why.
Plus
It's
no
just funny.
pants.
The Defend Your Movie intro, then I caught it out of the corner of my peripheral.
Oh, the no pants? Also, they're blue and white stripes, so Andy said I look like an old-timey
What are the, a bather.
bather.
Not-
Like a Coney Island bather from like 1914. Who's like, I'm going down to the watering hole. And then I said that I'm doing a reverse Bert Kreischer right now. Because I guess that guy's thing is he takes his
Shirtless.
shirt off all the time. So I'm going to do a special where I just am in these boxers, these same boxers. Thank you so much for listening. Andy, how are you?
I'm
you
good.
giggly fuck. How's everything going?
Good. Got a lot to talk about today.
You have a lot. You mentioned a couple of things.
Couple things.
I can't remember if I saw a movie or not. I don't think I did watch one this week like an idiot. I was gonna go to one and I didn't. The showing was too late. I was gonna go to the Black Klansman movie. Like I think it's still out.
Yeah.
And now they do the thing where the movie's almost out of the theaters. It's like you'll be like, oh, it's still in the theater, and it's like an 11:20 showing, and that's it. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think I caught. What did I watch? Maybe earlier in the week that I can't think of it. But you watched one that you want to talk about.
Yeah,
so.
let me ease into that. But the first thing I think because Burt Reynolds died like right after we left last week.
That's true.
So rest in peace, Burt. One of my favorites.
Yes.
I mean, Smokey and the Bandit. Above anything else I love. But then obviously Boogie Nights, you know.
One of the things that was so interesting about Burt Reynolds was like, he almost reminded me, and people are gonna get mad at me for saying this because he was so much larger than life than this guy, and he was like a leading man too. But he kind of reminds me of like Vince Vaughn in a way because they both are just themselves in every movie they do.
Yeah,
and like the more they're themselves, the better the movie does.
Yeah,
but I think, what do you think the best thing he did was, Burt Reynolds?
I mean, I mentioned the two. My two favorites are Smokey and Boogie Nights.
Yeah, I think Boogie Nights.
He was nominated for. I don't think he won, but it's such a phenomenal role, and it kind of re-energized his career. Well, not like it needed, but he was just kind of on the fringe for a while.
Yeah,
and
he was doing like sitcoms and stuff.
Yeah.
He was kind of like out of the loop a little.
And
bit.
I mean, that's such a brilliant movie and a brilliant, beautifully acted role. It's hard to top that.
Also, the interesting part, I was watching an interview that he did. I forget what channel it was on. And he mentioned to somebody, they go, oh, have you ever looked back in your career? And he's like, I did. He's like, they're like, you did like 90 movies. And he's like, 90 movies and 2 that were worth a damn. Like or whatever, like 5 that were worth a damn. Like,
yeah, he was a cut up.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's funny to watch it. Like, that comes from insecurity, like saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this guy who's so
that's
confident.
That's a comic reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's a comic reaction. So that guy, you know, who's somebody who you're like, oh, this guy's like so badass in every movie, and like even like one of the funniest things ever is the credit sequence of Cannonball Run. Like, those outtakes. I think that started it. I think that's the first time they did it.
That might have been. Yeah.
Yeah, for like a comedy, and it's really, really awesome, and like it's so. it's so funny to have a credit sequence be more famous than the actual
Right,
movie.
right.
Because The State, I don't know if you remember this. Remember The State that was on MTV
Yeah,
back in the
loved it.
90s?
Huge State fan.
They did a recreation of that. Like they did a recreation of the credit sequence from Cannonball Run during the credits of one of the State episodes. And it was amazing. And that movie was so much fun. I remember those are the kind of movies all right, so Burt Reynolds, my age, I'm 40. So Burt Reynolds was cool to guys who were 10 years older than me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know
Yes.
you love him, but guys where he was really in front of.
Yeah, because he would have legendary appearances on the Tonight Show with Carson.
Yeah.
And I heard something where this kind of put him on the, not blacklist or anything, but
The Mark Summers thing?
Well, no, not the Mark Summers thing, which is hilarious, and everybody should Google it if they can. He was a A-list actor in his time, hitting his peak, and he would go on Carson and he'd joke around and he would cut loose. Whereas at the time, all the leading men would be these mysterious guys, these actors.
So he was too accessible.
So people didn't take him seriously because he was that's one thing I kind of regret is going on Carson.
Really?
And hamming it up with Johnny. He goes, because people just thought I was a cut up.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So then these because everybody, 30 million people a night watch that show.
Right.
So people are watching that and going, "Oh, he's no leading man.
Right,
He's
exactly.
like a prankster." Or he's known for being funny.
Yeah.
You know?
And then he just and then that kind of became his thing for a while.
Yeah, being
and then
funny.
he posed nude in
Playgirl, right? Yeah. Was it Playgirl?
I don't know if it was Playgirl. I feel like it was a more mainstream.
It was more mainstream than that. Yeah, maybe it wasn't Playgirl.
I don't think it was completely nude, but it was still.
Well,
it was
he
oh,
had-
that's not what leading men do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's why I agree, because he never was considered one of the greatest actors ever, but he's a really good actor.
Really good.
When there was things written for him perfectly, Boogie Nights was like that.
Yeah.
Or, he was really, really good.
Yeah.
But the Mark Summers thing, if people don't know what that is, the host of Double Dare.
Right.
One of the appearances he had on the Tonight Show, and they show this clip. They've been the weird thing
you
is,
can Google it, so it'll come right up.
the weird thing is they've shown that clip every time they talk about him on the news these days. I'm like, why is that a sample of his life? I'm
I know. Guy was Oscar nominated.
yeah, why are you showing him poor? What happened was I think he was in a bad mood. He was one of these guys that was he
Yeah,
had
he's
a huge
prickly.
ego
He was
at
prickly.
times. Right. So he was in a bad mood. And he made some kind of comment to Mark Summers, and he probably wasn't used to people coming back at him. So Mark Summers is like, "I'm still married, by the way," and then he was going through a divorce, I think bad divorce with Lonnie Anderson.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he took his coffee and poured it on Mark Summers, which is kind of fucked up. It's
Yeah.
So then Mark Summers went to try to do it again, back at him, and he swatted the cup and it went all over Mark Summers again.
Yeah.
And then they did a pie thing at the end of the show. But so I guess that was some legendary Burt Reynolds thing. But I'm like, well, I don't think it was. I think the guy was way more talented than just him being in a bad mood on a talk show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I know the way they reduce things.
I think they did it because it was before Springer, and it was before that stuff was normal on these things. You know, it was before Joaquin Phoenix acting weird on Letterman, or Madonna,
right.
or all these things. So it was one of those first ones of people acting really out of character or weird on Tonight. And so many people saw it because that was peak Carson. What was that, 80s or early 90s,
absolutely.
or whatever it is. So. R.I.P. Burt Reynolds.
We'll miss you, Burt.
Yeah.
And that leads me into the first movie I watched. I had never seen the original in full of The Longest Yard. So
it's
it was
good.
on. I actually watched it from start to finish.
Yeah, I saw
a lot
it
of
once.
unnecessary football scenes, but still great Burt.
Yeah, they have full-on plays.
Yeah, totally.
That's how those things it's a comedy. It's kind of a comedy.
It's kind of a comedy. Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean,
because
there's
Burt
some
Reynolds is in
serious
it.
shit in it. There's
But it's funny to watch even some of the comedies back from that was the 70s definitely.
Yeah.
Right? And they're still trying to get really artistic by it's we're gonna just leave the camera on this this football scene for right now, whatever it is.
But one of these things I wanted to mention was as I was watching it, and I ended up looking it up afterwards, Ed Lauder, who I don't know if you know off the top of your head, he was the hockey coach in Youngblood, and he kind of is always the football coach in all those spoof movies. If you look his name up, you definitely recognize him.
Okay.
You'd be like, that's guy's great.
Okay. I'm gonna
He's
L-O-W-D-E-R?
Lauter.
Oh, Ed Lauder.
He is the head captain of the prison. He's not the warden, but he's the head captain. He's also the coach of the prison guard football team. and
Oh, he's great. This guy.
yeah, Ed Lauder.
Yeah, he's been on a bunch of stuff.
So he's got all his troops, as you will, amassed, and he's like, "What, you guys, show some heart this year. Last year, blah blah blah, Anacott Steel." And he mentions Anacott Steel, and I go, "What? Is that a real thing?" Because that's Blue Horseshoe loves Anacott Steel from Wall Street. That's like the famous line.
Oh,
Blue
really?
Horseshoe loves Anacott Steel. So I looked it up. It's not a real company or anything. That was just, if anything, Wall Street referenced that.
Yeah,
so I thought that was just a little cool piece of trivia.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Also, as a side note, I gotta tell you this. And I almost filmed one of your favorite parts of Seinfeld. They had the other day. They had
the Mickey.
Not the Mickey. The Mickey's great. No, you don't say Ukraine is weak. And he's like, we're playing a game here, pal. Keep going. But one of the big, I just told Alex about this. This is a little sidebar here. One of the episodes, the regifter episode, there's a line where Elaine thinks that, Tim Watley regifted his label maker gift
Label Baby
to Jerry.
Baby.
And he's like, well, he might have just liked it so much he bought you a new one.
Right.
And Jerry goes, well, what did he say when you gave it to him? And he goes, label maker. And Jerry goes, he repeated the name of the gift? He never liked it. She goes, what do you mean? He goes, it's like saying, tube socks, right? It's a great line.
Yeah.
Later in the episode, when George goes to his girlfriend's house, he brings her a cactus. She says, a cactus.
Wow, I never picked up on that.
Yes, brilliant, right?
Wow.
Isn't that brilliant? Like, that is, and also you don't notice because you just focus on him because he's looking around for the velvet couch and he wanted to ensconce himself in the couch.
Yeah.
So he's looking around, so you don't think of the line, but you're like, that's a brilliant
Beautiful.
callback.
Man, I thought everything.
I know.
Knew.
That's what happens a lot. I watch it so much.
Yeah.
I watch that show and I laugh like it's okay. I'll say I laugh like it's the second time I
know.
Like I laugh like it's brand new. I lose my mind laughing. Me and my roommate would just laugh our asses off, and I've seen every episode at least 10 times, at least.
First he regifted, then he de-gifted. Now he's using an upstairs invite to springboard to a Super Bowl sex romp.
What does he say about the scene? He's like, row F. He's like,
I'm hobnobbing with the G's and the E's and the D's.
It's the best.
That's a great one.
It's the best. But yeah, it's kind of a
Early
cool
appearance by Bryan Cranston as Dr. Tim Watley.
Yes. Was that his earliest appearance?
One of the early ones, yeah.
Yeah.
He was in a few.
The party he has is another one.
Yeah, well, the Thanksgiving when Jerry can't find the dentist, one of my favorite episodes, just one of a great underrated Kramer lines when him and George are watching the floating balloons go by.
Was he some kind of
He
troublemaker?
goes, Woody Woodpecker, what's the deal with him? He goes, was he some sort of instigator? He goes,
Yes.
That's right.
That's right.
He's a troublemaker. Like deadly serious.
Serious?
That's right.
It's so great.
That's a great episode.
There's another tidbit. Did you ever know the one where, remember when Kramer hits his head because of Mary Hart's
Yeah, Mary
voice?
Hart.
Do you know another little piece of Seinfeld trivia, then we'll go back to the movies. Do you know when he gets up and he's all messed up, he calls Elaine, he calls her, who's she based on? Carol. He calls her Carol.
Yeah.
And she's based on Carol Leifer. And then Costanza, he calls him Mike, and they knew a guy named Mike Costanza. This guy who sued the show. Some guy named Mike Costanza sued
Wow.
for like defamation or something a long time
Real
ago.
deep cuts here.
Real deep cut. And now it's become a Seinfeld podcast very quickly.
Yeah.
Also,
Easily.
let's segue into the other movie you saw.
The other movie I saw. Oh, Nelly, hold on to your hats. I watched, I had a night off.
Keep your pants on. Or in my case, put them back on.
I had a night off last night of stand-up, so I was thinking about the podcast. I go, The Longest Yard, that's kind of like a rewatch. Let me watch something new. So I signed up for Hereditary.
Oof.
In my apartment alone.
Holy I'll just
smokes.
tell you, I haven't seen it. But adults get scared when they're talking to me about it.
It shook me, dude. It had one of those things where afterwards for like, I had to watch like straight up comedy or like something other than anything serious.
Do you think you would have nightmares? If
I didn't have nightmares, but I can. If you're prone to them, I wouldn't watch it. I took a little Instagram clip of my face after Hereditary, and a couple people messaged me. They're like, "Is it real fucked up and scary?" And it is. It's weird and fucked up and great. It's a great horror movie. It automatically in my like top 3 horror movies.
Really?
Really, really good.
it's like
and
you
I
were
like
saying,
good
it's
horror
very
movies.
original, but it's
Super original. It has twists which you definitely don't see coming, and I don't want to spoil it or anything because it's still fairly new. But man, if you like good horror movies, it's like a combination of like it's got like The Shining and The Exorcist had a baby, but like super man, it really like
It's Toni Collette, right?
yeah. Toni Collette is great. She really fucking takes the reins. Gabriel Byrne's in it, who's really understatedly good in this. And then
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, man, I can't say enough about it. But
Like I'm a
wow.
wimp. Like I'm a wimp. Like I'm a wimp. Like hot sauce, I only have like hot buffalo sauce. When it comes to horror movies, I didn't even see Blair Witch Project when it came out.
Yeah, but that was pretty scary in 1999
Yeah.
because it was the first of that real found footage.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's some other movie coming out that's found footage with that guy John Chung. What's the guy's name?
I don't know. I'm not
The
sure.
guy, Harold and Kumar. He's Harold.
Yeah, I don't just want to say an Asian name. I was going to say John Cho, which I
John
think
Cho,
actually might
that's
be it. But
yeah, I said Chung. It is an Asian name. It's not like he's not an Asian. It's not like John
Chan.
It's not like it's not like you're like, what is it, Cho? I'm like, no, McGillicuddy. Are you kidding me?
I don't know.
Really? How dare you say that an Asian guy has an Asian name? Is that where we're getting to at
Yes,
this point?
that's where we are.
Dude, come on. But everybody knows I was basing it off of like it was close to his name. It's not like I'm like, I didn't go like this. I didn't go Ching Chong
No,
Charlie.
it's,
I know it's something.
It's Charlie Chan.
It's Charlie Chan. Yeah, that'd be fucked up.
It's John Johnson.
John Johnson. Yeah, like John. It's John. It doesn't matter what his name is
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're all people.
Exactly. Well, anyway, if you like good quality horror, and it's not even like straight horror the whole time, it's like it's got good thriller.
How's the ending?
Just hold. I mean,
Don't tell the
I
ending,
had
but
all
mean,
the lights on in my apartment by like, and I got up halfway through. I just go, I can't watch this in the dark. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's that
like
bad.
I had lights on in other rooms.
Yeah, I will never, ever, ever see this movie. And I know the plot because I went on a date with this girl who explained to me the whole plot because I told her I wasn't going to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was
The
like,
ending is insane. But then it made me like read up on the things afterwards. It was one of those where I'm like, I immediately loved this. I did love it. It's great.
wow.
But and then somebody else was texting me. They're like, "Did you notice this?" And I'm like, "I didn't see that." So,
Wow.
yeah, I'm sure it'll hold up. It really reminded me of like psychologically thriller moments of like The Shining at one point, and then there's religious aspects to it, which made me think of like The Exit. It has every aspect of like great horror.
Yeah.
and it really does it well. It doesn't come all corny in a way.
It's like the guy
just
who
a
knows
straight
what
up.
he's
It's
doing.
a good movie, and then it has all this other shit where you're like, God damn, that's fucked up and great.
It's like sometimes that happens. You have these people who are students of things.
Yeah.
Not students,
Yeah.
are fans of things. I'm sure this guy was a huge horror fan. The guy who directed it.
Yeah, for Ari Aster is his name. First time writer, first time director of features.
Also, he's hungry. He's
Yeah.
trying, and also, that he has that creative outlet, like where he's like, he's like hot, hot to
Yeah,
trot.
yeah.
No way, I don't know what you would call it.
Well shot, well acted too. Really good
Well,
movie.
Toni Collette's great. Like,
Yeah,
she's, she's really great.
Boy, but yeah, it shook me for a little while. I was in a like afterwards. You know how you get sometimes? You're just like, Jesus Christ.
You know what I get freaked out by? And also they can be silly a little bit, but just the idea of them. Like, I never would see The Strangers because stuff like that freaks me out.
Yeah, that's up there as one of my favorites
Where it's like
too.
no-name people with masks on, like The Purge. The first Purge, like in the beginning, it freaks me out. It freaked me out. And those aren't that bad. Like,
I would say The Strangers, The Conjuring, and Hereditary are my three like most recently. Well, I mean they're 10 years old now, but like
Really?
up there. Strangers has that aspect of absolutely could happen where it took place in Natchitoches, Louisiana.
Right.
Like absolutely, and that's what's even scarier. Like,
right. That's,
yeah.
That kind of real world stuff is scary
yeah.
to me. Also, I want to see a movie. You probably know this one if you like horror movies, because I heard it's not really a horror movie, but it's cool. Cabin in the Woods, I heard is really
Cabin in the Woods is great. You've never seen it?
I gotta see it.
Oh, you'd love it. It's
thought
not
it was
even
horror
really. It's not
movie.
like crazy horror. No. You'll love it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a really good. It's more of like it hits all the tropes and themes
All right, I gotta
of horror
check it.
movies. It's fun. It's not super scary at all. It's got like jumpy moments, but it's more tongue in cheek than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta check it out.
That's a great movie.
Should we mention our big news right now in the
Yes.
middle of the podcast?
Absolutely.
We don't wait till the end. We're so excited about it.
Wow, we got you on the hook.
Well, we got you on the hook. Well, on this hereditary talk, we'd like to announce we're doing a live podcast. It's Andy's first on the podcast, which is pretty exciting.
Live Defend Your Movie.
We did a couple of them before that were really, really fun. We did one in Brooklyn, we did one in San Francisco, and we're doing another, and we're really excited about it. We're actually doing it at one of the Comedy Cellar rooms, at the Fat Black Pussycat in the West Village in New York City. So you will be able to make reservations online for the
Absolutely.
show. If you go to ComedyCellar.com, you can check right now. If you go, we're doing it October 17th at 8:30.
Yes, it's a Wednesday.
It might not be up there yet, but it will be up there soon.
And we'll post all the links on our social and all that stuff.
And also, like, come out and see this show.
Yeah.
Bring your friends.
Interactive.
Yeah, let us know. Tweet about it for us. Let people know. Like, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be super fun.
Gonna be
Working on some fun special guests.
Exactly. We're going to have a really, really cool guest as well as really fun things to do that are a little bit different from the regular episodes of the podcast. So, October 17th, the Fat Black Pussycat, the Comedy Cellar Lounge in the back. That's 8:30 p.m. ComedyCellar.com. Check that. Keep updating. Keep refreshing that.
Yeah, we'll let you know when the link goes up.
Yes, we'll find out for sure and let you know. Should we do the battle part?
Yeah, because I'm excited about this one too.
Well, this is also like while we were going over it before, I feel like I'm dead in the water by one fact. I feel like one thing we brought up in passing, not in passing.
Oh,
but
no, don't let that.
You don't think so?
No. Okay. Did we look up?
And I think it's I think it's a great matchup. And also, I love, I've seen this movie so many times.
Yeah, I've seen both of them a ton.
I've only seen Cool Hand Luke. I've only seen once, and it was a long time ago. And
okay, you need to watch it again.
All right, so the two movies we're doing today are Cool Hand Luke versus
Shawshank Redemption.
And I am taking Shawshank.
Yes.
And then Andy is taking Cool Hand Luke. Here's the thing. Right before we started, Andy, we looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, and Cool Hand Luke has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now that's not a deal breaker. That's not a show ender, but it's still.
Well, I just looked. Shawshank has 91, okay. So they're in the same arena.
But just having 100% on there,
it's
because what is there? Like there's probably a good amount of movies that have 100%. There was a bunch of recent ones that had. You know what had it? Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I do. I'm fine with it having that because Paddington Bear 2 has it. One of those had like 100%.
I mean, to be fair, what are you going to knock on PB2?
Or not? Is it Paddington Bear? Or something?
I don't know.
One of those movies had 100% for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe not anymore.
I think the Meg had 100% for like 3 days or something.
No, it didn't.
I don't know, but to your point is being made. Yes.
Yeah. So it can change.
Have to be a classic.
Right. Okay.
Two great prison movies.
Yes.
Two great escapist stories.
Yes.
One maybe definitely ends on a happier note than the other one. It's maybe my second favorite movie of all time. I have an old original movie poster of Cool Hand Luke framed in my apartment.
Yeah. So what'd you say? This is your?
It's like behind Jaws. Oh yeah.
Behind Jaws, but not.
Paul Newman, probably my favorite actor of all time.
Paul Newman, yes. Paul Newman's
this is
amazing.
him in his prime. This is like after HUD, after like his black and white movie. I mean, he is. It's like hard as a heterosexual man to not look at even to look at him and be like, God damn, he's a good looking man.
This wouldn't be weird normally, but me being in my boxer briefs makes it. It kind of adds to the sultriness of your.
It's a lot of men working outdoors, sweating. And just.
What if I just got a boner right now while you're describing?
You're under the table. You're good.
No. But you're right. And also. I would say you could say this like up until I don't know if people say this in conversation, but up until Shawshank, this was the prison movie. This was the gold standard in prison movies.
And what's interesting is people don't think about is the movie Cool Hand was made in the era of the chain gang, but I think the timing of Shawshank when it takes place actually might predate when Cool Hand Luke takes place.
I think
Cool Hand's like early to mid 60s, I believe.
Yeah, it does because Shawshank is
Shawshank
the 40s.
has the different times, yeah. But
Shawshank starts over in the 40s and like ends in the 60s. I think.
And it's just such I love prison movies. Great prison movies are.
Well, I think there's so many. Yeah, there's what is okay. So Cool Hand Luke. If you want to talk about it,
it's the chain gang. They live in not in their traditional prison. They live in those like bunk houses. But they are prisons. They're all locked up. But they
out in the middle of nowhere.
They all just live in one big, long row house where there's bunk beds. And you can make a case. I love both these movies. Both movies have great ensemble casts. Shawshank might tip the scales on a little better because of just Robbins and
great character actors. Too.
Yeah. All right. What character actors? You got George Kennedy.
Yeah.
You've got actually a very super young Dennis Hopper. who plays
that's
Babalu
right.
Gats.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
And a bunch of other like older character actors that I don't know by name, but you go, oh yeah, there's that guy. Oh, look how young he is.
And the guy who plays the warden.
Strother Martin, who is just a classic.
Yeah, that's one of the most famous lines. But here's the thing:
one of the most
they both have,
famous lines.
You know what's funny? People love prison movies because they both have like public like in the lexicon lines like "get busy living" or "get busy dying."
Yeah,
is like the Shawshank line.
Totally.
That's like, and then also, but just as famous as what we got here, the failure to communicate. Yeah, that's one of the most famous. It might be. I don't know what's the most famous movie. That's in the top 10 of most famous. Movie lines.
We could spend. There's so many. I don't even know.
And it has. Well, think about the iconic.
I'll make him an
scenes.
offer. He can't. Yeah, He made him an offer. He can't refuse.
But we go topic to topic. Iconic scenes from Cool Hand Luke. You have the egg eating contest.
Nobody can eat 50 eggs. I mean, that's pretty iconic up there.
Yeah,
and then because it ends with him in a cruciform. Like he's laying back and everybody kind of leaves, and he's laying on this table. He's just spent, and his arms are out, and his legs are crossed, and it's the crucifix, it's the cruciform.
Yeah, they do that, and they would do that a lot. Like Scorsese does it.
Yeah, but if
bunch.
you want to go into Stuart Rosenberg as the director, he made him a Jesus figure, like because everybody came around him, and then they all betrayed him.
Yeah,
when he escaped.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
And then eventually you got George Kennedy plays Dragline. Just great. It's such a great movie, man.
See, the thing about, Shawshank Redemption, what you have, if you don't know, it was based off a story from one of Stephen King's, not you,
Short
I mean,
story.
in general,
I think it's called, what's her name? It's called Something Something and the Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
It's the poster. It's the girl on the poster. Which is one of my major plot holes in Shawshank, which we'll get to.
Well, let's hear it. You might as well say it now.
Alex, look up the actress's name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But the short story is called actress.
Ava something? Ava Gabor. No.
Not Marlena Dean. Oh, God. What's her name? Something. The Shawshank. People are at home are going, it's this, you idiots.
Yeah, I know, exactly. What's the loophole?
You know how he digs his tunnel behind the poster?
Yeah.
And then when they come in and finally find it, the warden.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Throws a rock. You can't get a poster taut again, where you would be able to throw.
Who are you going to say? Who was it again?
Somebody. Look up the short story. Somebody, and the Shawshank Redemption.
Okay, short story. Okay.
Whatever the actress, whatever the poster he has in his cell, right before he escapes.
Oh, Farrah Fawcett, right?
No.
Absolutely
Farrah Fawcett. It was like the 50s or 60s by that point.
I didn't even think she was alive yet.
At first they have, it's like a black and white, yes, Farrah Fawcett.
I like Alex. It was a huge reveal. Oh, I got it, you dopes.
Alex is like, oh, Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Raquel Welch?
That's later on.
That's later on.
And then early on, it's somebody different. He's like, Alex is like, oh, Selena Gomez. You thought Shawshank Redemption just came out. There's time traveling.
Yeah, it was based on in different seasons. 4 different. It was based on 4 different novellas. Rita Hayworth. And the Shawshank Redemption.
That's it. That's the first one. Where she does the thing with the hair, and they all freak out. That makes sense, though.
So my point is,
if you're in jail and you see a girl twirl her hair, you're like, oh, that'll do it.
Think about it. If you're crawling in head first into a hole, how are you can't reattach a poster. Huge, major plot hole.
It's
major plot hole. If I know posters, and I do, that corner's twirling right back up.
Well, I think what he did was he had his friend, his next door neighbor, put it back up for him.
Good answer. Good answer. Red plays that one off though so well because he plays it like he's like, I don't know where he is. So that might be.
Yeah,
There's
you're right.
some long nights in the stir. That was the longest.
But think of it. But you need that scene in that movie. That's one of the greatest scenes.
Of course. Yeah. I just one day that hit me. I was like, wait a second.
He's like, what does he call it? A coup? No, what does he call it when he's throwing the rocks? He's like, this is a goddamn conspiracy.
Yeah.
That guy is such a great bad guy.
Great.
He. I wonder if he's a nice guy, or I think he's dead now, but I wonder if he was a nice guy in real life. Because he always plays the asshole. Patch Adams, he's the asshole.
Boggs, the prison guard, is in. He's if you remember,
Clancy Brown, his name is.
The original Bad Boys, not the Martin Lawrence, Will Smith one, but the Bad Boys, the Boys Prison with Sean Penn and Esai Morales. He is a prison guard in that too.
Oh, really?
Never seen original Bad Boys?
No.
Oh, it's so good. It's
Really?
like it's like a Chicago boys prison.
I've seen Toy Soldiers.
Eastwood Morales.
Remember
No,
Toy
no,
Soldiers?
No. Yeah, but all right. What about Taps?
Taps is fun too.
Yeah.
That's Timothy Hutton, right?
Yeah, Timothy Hutton, Sean Penn, Tom Cruise. Yeah. Watch
no,
Bad Boys.
Clancy-
Really good.
Clancy Brown also was in like Deadwood and stuff. He's a great character.
Yeah.
actor.
He's
Those guys, wouldn't you love a career? A career like that's great.
I know.
That's like
Yeah.
because you don't have to deal with all the bullshit, but you make a ton of money.
Yeah.
And then you work and you get to like stay an actor.
Yeah.
Like, you can stay an actor. And those are like the real actors. Like when you get to a certain point, people know you too much and they're not like, paying attention.
Right. All right. So let's go. I think maybe more famous shots. If we're talking about that, you have the
I got
the
one.
boss.
I got one locked and loaded for that.
The sunglasses and the reflection is pretty hard to beat. I mean, I've seen like Simpsons do that.
Well,
I've seen a lot of
Casino
people
did it.
shaking it off your boss. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the Simpsons did?
Like they did a whole like reference to Cool Hand Luke with the boss and the.
Oh yeah. It was a Chief Wiggum, and it was in Chief
No,
Wiggum's
it
glasses.
it was like I can't remember what it was. I think maybe it was.
How about this? Arcade, what you call it? Classic shots. One of the classic scenes ever in a movie is when he's in a great mood because he gets all those records sent to him by the library.
Yeah,
and he
that's a
locks
great
himself
one.
in and plays the opera.
I was gonna say,
And then just the shot of
that's
over
a really good
the
one.
prison yard.
All talent extras.
Oh
They
yeah,
used to fill
right.
up
In New Hampshire,
I was
in
going to
Maine or
say
something.
the maybe most famous is him and Standing in the Rain when he's finally.
Yes, that
That's
is
a
the most
pretty
famous.
famous shot.
But the other one I like better. I think because I love.
Yeah.
like they were all just.
That's a sweep. That's almost like Gone with the Wind and the Civil War soldiers.
Yeah,
ish, if you can.
and him then just sweeping over the entire
Yeah.
yard, and they're all like. They're like into it, but they don't know what it is almost because those guys, prisoners from back then, are not going to know what opera is.
Well,
so
that's
it's
what Red says. He's like, I don't know what that Italian lady was saying.
Yeah, it's great. And that shot.
This is a really hard one.
They've recreated that shot a lot of the guy in the rain.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
definitely.
They have other ones too. They have like maybe that's the two big ones. Also, the last shot's pretty. Like I always like how they end. Well, if you got to have seen Shawshank at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's 20 years
I
old.
always love how they end it because they end. It's like it's one of the greatest endings ever. Like
It's a great ending. They're both.
It's a happy ending.
It's a happy ending, whereas Cool Hand Luke is not. I mean, Luke gets shot and killed by.
But you know what it is? Shawshank's a happy. Right, exactly. But Shawshank is a happy ending. But there's like sad shit that happens right before it. So it's like bittersweet. Like the Brooks stuff.
Oh yeah.
The Brooks was here thing. That is one of the saddest things in a movie.
That's where the movies are great because they're opposites. Whereas the leading up to the sad
It's
ending
pretty
of Cool Hand
light,
is
yeah.
fun, and
Yeah.
you're like, let's see what Luke's capers and him escaping, and like, there's some dramatic scenes like the boxing match with George Kennedy, where that's when George Kennedy finally realizes like he can physically beat Luke, but Luke will never quit.
Yeah.
Like, he'll never get back down.
Yeah.
And then the whole like digging. What are you doing with Boss Thomas's dirt in that hole?
Yeah,
and then
right,
put it back
right,
in that
right.
hole. I mean, they're so great. Like him in the box, like Luke in the box, and just the whole stuff with the warden. I mean, it's dramatic stuff, but you're just fight. You have that underdog, and you're fighting for Luke the whole time. Whereas you feel so badly for Andy Dufresne getting framed for murder.
Right. Like the
Just
whole time he's
getting
innocent.
raped.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy has a brutal existence.
Absolutely. And they have, go back to character actors, they have great ones because they have William Sadler, who's great.
Yes.
He's the guy who gives Brooks the rope.
Yep.
Or gives Andy the rope at the end when he thinks he's going to hang himself.
I can't remember Brooks' real name.
He's an old, Richard something. He's an old-time actor. He's fucking awesome. Richie April's in it.
Yeah, Richie April.
Richie April, young Richie April
Yeah.
is in it, and then also the guy who plays the bad guy, Tim Robbins. What other character actors are in it? Is that it, pretty much? And then Clancy Brown, who's in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, Clancy Brown.
Like it's really like quality.
Yeah.
Think about how many like famous prison movies there are. Because then you have Green Mile. That's like the other one.
I mean,
It's like
Escape from Alcatraz.
But this one, I think now this is the gold. I think even though it beat it on Rotten Tomatoes, I think this is the gold standard of prison movies. I think people when they think of prison movies.
I
think of
agree.
this. What do you think of The Rock? You think The Rock? The
I
Rock's
was going to
not
say
even a
Escape
prison
from
movie.
Alcatraz is pretty.
Escape from
classic.
Alcatraz is good. There's a movie called Charlie Varick that takes place in prison.
I'm sure we're forgetting a few, but yeah, Cool Hand Luke is more chain gangish, and it's more. But I love how both movies have that prison camaraderie sense to them. where
Yeah.
it's like, I don't think prison's so bad if you got friends. Like, it seems like they're okay, you know?
Yeah, maybe that's the downside
They're all
of it.
buddies.
But if I could have gone to prison back in the 40s, I would have made a bunch of friends. That is true. Whereas, like, when, like, Brooks has the little bird, and he's like, he got a pet?
He's got a pet.
That's great.
He's got a library.
And they're playing baseball.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Doing everybody's taxes.
Like, prison is not that bad.
Yeah.
And then if it was like if it was now, you just like walk in and get raped.
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah.
Or walk in and get punched in the
Right.
face.
Now
immediately.
it's just fucking
Just
Oz.
stabbed. Yeah, now it's Oz. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, so two different endings. Luke finally did get beaten, but I always thought it was great how he didn't want to be portrayed as that, you know, better than everybody. He just wanted to be left alone because he sent all the boys back a picture. He's got his new suit on. He's got 2 girls on each arm.
Yeah.
You know, and he
like to
goes,
keep up appearances, basically.
Yeah. And then he just finally gets so sick of you know, everybody basically just, you know, kissing his ass, and he just, that's a fake. Had it made, cost me a week's pay. You know?
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
So he was kind of that Jesus figure. I don't know if you could loft the same thing upon Andy Dufresne, where he was more of a sacrificial lamb.
He's more of a Job, I guess. It was like everything was just he couldn't
My biblical
win.
knowledge is not that deep. But
Job's like the guy who like he got tested by God. He like, you know, I think it was like I don't even
yeah,
know enough.
yeah,
of it. I
yeah.
just know story of Job's
one
like,
of those guys. That
yeah,
sounds right.
all this stuff happened, and his faith was
Yeah.
tested or whatever. It was God testing his faith. But like his house burned down, his boat sank, his family died,
right.
like, all this stuff, and he still believed.
They are similar in that is that these two guys just wouldn't quit until
Right.
you literally had to. One got what he wanted to get done, and the other one you had to kill him.
Right, exactly.
Cool Hand Luke is a much more religious themed movie than Shawshank. I mean, it has literally Paul Newman shouting at God in the thunder and the rain. He's like, "Is that all you got, old man?"
Yeah.
You know, it's very. He's pretty much an atheist. He doesn't. You believe in that nonsense and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it scares George Kennedy. He's like, don't say stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
He plays such a great.
Apparently, George
sidekick.
Kennedy, very serious guy.
Really?
You ever hear about the Mystery Science Theater thing with George Kennedy?
No.
He was in some detective movie that's so bad that there's a sex scene, and in the middle of the sex scene, he opens a beer with his foot, his toe, or something like that. And they made fun of it, and he I think didn't sue them, but he
Right, wrote a letter.
he was pissed. Like he was pissed they were making fun of his movie.
Oh,
like I forget the name of the movie. If you know it, write in.
Yeah, well,
tweet at us
God,
at
I love
Defend Your
Mystery
Movie.
Science Theater.
Oh, it's the best.
So funny.
Oh, me and my dad used to watch it all the time. One of the best episodes is the Girls Town. Remember Girls Town? You remember that one? It's black and white with Mel Torme. Mel Torme plays like a
The Velvet Fog?
The Velvet Fog. He plays a biker. And maybe Van Doren's in it.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and he plays a biker in it, and then the Mystery Science guys are just making fun of him. They have him scatting every time he enters a
Was
scene.
it a Joel or a Mike?
What?
Was it a Joel or a Mike?
I think it was a Joel. Who was earlier?
There's
Joel.
only a
Joel
few,
was earlier, right?
There's only a few. Yeah, Joel was first. There's only a few seasons of the original on Netflix now, and I've gone through all of them.
Well, they would have him come in a scene and go, "Skip up, ba-doodle-doo, what's going on?" And I remember thinking,
You know,
that was so
how one
funny.
enters a room.
Yeah, and then also there's an old lady in it, and then I remember I thought one of the funniest things ever was they had her go. Like she comes out and she's like, "You better come back at an early hour," or whatever she said. And then one of the Tom Servo or something was like, "How'd you like it if somebody picked one of your apples?" Like it was like just like the Wizard of Oz tree. I don't know why I went through that whole story. It's not that funny repeating it, but here's the thing. I think when it comes down to Shawshank, I think if you have to think what's a better movie, I still think Shawshank's a better movie. I don't know why. I just think it's more epic to me than Cool Hand Luke. Cool Hand Luke feels more
Neither
more
one
personal.
Best Picture.
Neither one Best Picture, but
George
Shawshank
Kennedy won for Best Supporting Actor, and I think Morgan Freeman won for Best
Yeah, I
Supporting
think you're
Actor.
right. Yeah, but I think about Shawshank is more epic. I think Shawshank is played more on cable. I would definitely say that. That's like one of those movies that TBS, they might as well do like a marathon of it.
Oh yeah,
I think they might even have done that once, where they just played it for 24 hours.
Cool Hand's a little dated, if anything.
That's what I was going to say also. Cool Hand feels more dated when I watch it now. It's one of those things that's like a little bit out of touch. Like we were talking about Burt Reynolds before. I'm like,
Right.
to really get into him and love him, I was like 7 years too late. You know what I mean? And Cool Hand Luke, to really watch it over and over again, be one of the ones that's like my flip test or one of my rewatchers like a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like a few years out of that.
Oh,
And
Cool
also,
Hand.
was your dad a
absolutely.
fan of Cool Hand?
Yes.
That helped. See, there you
Absolutely.
go. That's what it was.
My
you
dad,
watched it with
Paul
your dad.
Newman, and really, my dad loves Paul Newman and loved The Sting first. I kind of discovered Cool Hand on my own, but then I was watching it in college at home at my parents' house, and my dad was like, great movie. And then that kind of perpetuated it even more.
Right.
But I mean, I love it. It's just got one of those things where it's almost indescribable. I'll give the soundtrack to Cool Hand Luke, though. It's that classic acoustic guitar.
Yeah, that's way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Shawshank is
just kind of scored.
classical, yeah. Hold on, I want to go. Yeah, I think what holds up, as far as the category of what holds up better now, I think Shawshank does. I think the one does feel a little bit more dated. Cool Hand Luke does feel a bit more dated. As far as Hollywood royalty goes, you win in that category because Paul Newman is like a god to
Paul
people.
Newman and Dennis Hopper, if you want to go there too.
Well, Dennis Hopper, there's actors that are like famous character actors, and that's basically what Dennis Hopper was. He was a brilliant. He was such a good character actor. He became
Strother
famous.
Martin. Yeah, they both.
Because you think about it, he's almost like Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing where people know who he is because he's
in Cool Hand Luke.
That's right, he is. Yeah,
I can't believe I forgot that one.
That's a good one. Yeah, the drunken dad from Pretty in Pink. But Dennis Hopper in Hoosiers is like unbelievable.
Yeah,
like Dennis Hopper's, and also he's great in Easy Rider, and he's great in all that stuff.
Oh yeah, of course. True Romance.
I don't know. I just think that. I think the story. I like the story of Shawshank Redemption better. Also, it plays on tropes more. It plays on like what you think is going to happen in jail more.
It's almost the same story. It's so similar.
Maybe the style, also stylized wise, I think the directing's better on Shawshank. I think the stylized wise, like I think it looks better. I think it has, yeah, like I said, those shots, those classic shots you have, like Cool Hand Luke, you have the glasses shot. That's a big one.
You got the what's her name? Lucille. When they're all watching the girl wash the car, which is so crazy.
Right.
That one's a little over the top.
Didn't they redo that one too? I think I've seen some of
that.
Alex, who do you think won?
I mean, this is just based on this episode. Oh, I got to go with Andy.
What?
and also, I have to go with, because I just love Cool Hand Luke so much.
Yeah, me too.
I think Shawshank is an incredible movie.
I do too.
It gets hokey at
I'll
times.
tell you this: I think Shawshank appeals to more people.
Absolutely,
no question.
I think
it was made in '94. It was made in a great year. It was made in. It went up against Gump and Pulp Fiction.
How about this? I think guys and gals can watch. It's good for guys and gals. Like, it's one of those things that, your dad loved it. Like, Shawshank is one of those movies where I didn't watch it with my dad, but like
I'll give you this though too. My dad loves fucking Shawshank. He really does love Shawshank.
Your dad loves prison movies.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So all right, Andy, you won. That's what we're gonna have to do.
I was
when
gonna
it's this close. We have to go to.
Yeah. I was really gonna give this one a tie because there's no way I could give up loving Cool Hand Luke in favor of Shawshank. But give it a watch again if you haven't seen it recently. It's one of the. It passes the flip test for me over and over again.
It's in your top 5. It's in your top 3.
Course, so
it's in your top 3. Yeah.
But
like Shawshank
usually does too, for the most part. It's,
yeah. Shawshank like is one of the reasons for the flip test almost for me. Where it's like I'll just go. It's almost like having your favorite song on. You just go back. I've seen it so many times. Right. But I'll just go back and watch it. I think I also like stuff from that era, like when it's done properly.
Yeah.
When it looks cool.
Yeah.
Stuff like from the 50s, 40s, and 50s I always like. All right, Andy, you won this week.
All right, well, with
who
an
won
assist
last
from
week?
Alex.
I think me
you
and,
won.
I won with, what's his name? Let's see.
Great episode.
Great.
Super fun.
What
we just did. I loved both those. I had a real fun time doing that one.
Listen, we also asked you guys a question last week. I did it on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
I asked, if you had to recast the dude in The Big Lebowski, who would you pick? We had some pretty good ones come in. Somebody gave a really good one. James Franco.
Yes, I was going to look up the.
That's
the
a really good
Twitter.
one, and it would be like it almost like I could feel it being a younger version of Jeff Bridges. Like it's the same kind of vibe.
That was the one I saw too, and I went, "Ooh, really good."
Another one we got. This is actually pretty good, but it would have been a different movie. Robert Downey Jr. or Danny McBride.
Danny McBride
could do it, but it would be. Like, you couldn't have him be a hippie. It would just be the Danny McBride character as the dude.
This is a good one in a different direction. This comes from Matt Zappa on Twitter, Dr. Matt Zappa. Thank you. Hannibal Buress.
Yeah, that could be
Which
good.
is kind of, you're like, all right.
He seems high all the time?
Yeah.
He's a very mellow dude, and he just...
Somebody else, the astonishing, the big man Jimmy T wrote Judah Friedlander, our buddy.
Oh,
Which,
Judah Friedland, that'd
could
be a
be
good
very
one.
interesting.
That'd be a really good one.
Because he's a great actor who's been in multiple feature films.
Somebody wrote Ian McClellan. Graham Gossel wrote Ian McClellan.
All right, Graham.
I'm like, what do you want? Like the Shakespeare version of?
I mean,
I think people just
sometimes-
writing stuff to like write stuff.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
wrote Emma Stone. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Emma Stone is the dude. And then somebody wrote Dave Grohl. That's kind of an interesting one.
All right.
Even though I don't know if he can act. And then this is how I know it's a joke. Somebody wrote the cast of Perfect Strangers.
oh, beautiful.
That's just come on, guys. Like, would you just put them into different
Cast
roles?
of? There's two of them.
Yeah, exactly. This is a good one. I didn't see this one before. Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, who I saw today.
You did?
Yeah.
Where'd you see him?
I saw him at Sirius XM. He was plugging White Boy Rick. And I
Really?
saw White Boy Rick. And
It's so funny, man. He's going to be on Norm's show because Norm did Howard earlier, and he ran into him. And he said he invited him to do his show. Anyway.
yeah,
Oh, really?
so I walked
Yeah.
by. They're in the big fishbowl there at Sirius XM, and I also got to meet Chewbacca.
Oh, that's right.
I have a picture. If you go to my Instagram, Andy, if you're just look up my a picture of me and Chewbacca. He's fucking. It was Chewy. It was great.
Who was better meeting, McConaughey or Chewbacca?
Oh, I didn't meet McConaughey. I just kind of like
you
saw
saw
him
him.
from a distance. But it's still cool. You're like, there's Matt McConaughey right there.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I
pretty
mean?
awesome.
So Chewy just didn't. He didn't even give me a or anything like that. Just kind of people were hogging him. You know.
You gotta get sick of the
Yeah.
after a while.
Yeah. I'm sure.
You're like, can I just say hi? Can I just
The
say hi?
lozenge after. Yeah.
Lozenge. Can I just be like, hey, Andy, how are you? Wouldn't it be funny if he was like,
That's what I did. I know what to say. I just went, hey man.
yeah.
And then I posed with him
And
for
he
a
was like,
picture.
hello, Andrew. How's everything going? Out of the Chewbacca mask?
He's like, I just speak like that in space. He's like,
Yeah.
Down here, I know English.
yeah, I just constantly have my throat stuck all the time. That's funny. Thank you so much, Andy. Another fantastic
episode.
show. I think that it's pretty. I think it was very close. Let us know
Yeah,
what you
tough
think.
one, man.
Which
Yes.
one won? Which one would you pick? Cool Hand Luke or Shawshank
Yeah, put
Redemption?
this out to the fans.
Thank you so much to Showbiz Studios for having
Thanks,
us.
Alex.
That's showbizstudios.com. They have their own YouTube page. They also have a page on iTunes where you can see all the amazing Showbiz Studios podcasts. A lot of them run by friends of ours that are freaking hilarious. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. And don't forget the live podcast on October 17th. We'll have more details coming soon. We'll have the details, but you'll have the link coming soon. Thank you so much, and goodbye.
There's a time